Larry. I think he's on his MacBook Air. Hi, Larry.
Hi, Larry. How are you? We can't see you, but I think we can hear you, though. Hopefully.
Yeah, I've been trying. I've been trying to connect with the cam, and I'm on a MacBook Air. I'm at a family barbecue. Home, and I brought my my laptop with me, and something's just not working with the cam here.
That's okay. We feel you in spirit, and so let's hear about this barbecue. What are you eating?
Burgers and franks and tater tots and salad and
classical picnic.
Nice. Very Memorial Day weekend barbecue. Awesome. Well, it's been a pleasure chatting with all of you. I'm going to quickly leave. We have rainy weather here, so no barbecue happening in New York. Maybe tomorrow. But it's been a pleasure. Keep doing what you're doing. Keep telling our diverse, awesome Asian American Pacific Islander stories. And I hope to see you at some of the soon to happen in-person cons across the U.S.
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Thank you, Visavjit.
It's great to see
Take
you.
care, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Stay well, stay safe.
Take care.
So Larry, thanks for joining us.
Well, glad to be here.
So Janice is still here. I thought it'd be nice for you guys to sort of hang out for a little
Hey,
bit.
Larry, I hear your voice.
Okay.
Janice has been here like a trooper for the last 2 hours, but it was great, right? I mean, I thought Vish was so terrific that you had to meet him. So Larry, disembodied Larry. we've been actually doing a lot of Zooming lately because Daryl came on a couple hours ago just to say hi. So we've been working with Daryl on some projects, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what else is going on with you, Larry?
You mean work-wise?
In general, yeah. Like, so we are basically we've been spotlighting different Asian American creator. I was gonna say heroes, but you are a hero.
Yeah.
Creators all weekend actually, and so part of it is also not just talking about what you're up to, but also kind of some of your origin story, which is also kind of entwined with our origin stories in some ways, right?
A bit.
So like the Bible begat generations.
A lot of begatting.
Yeah, they're keeping me busy. I'm doing some more work at Marvel these days, and still I'm up to issue 285 of G.I. Joe, Real American Hero. So
285. That's amazing.
Amazing.
Yeah. So.
But you're still not even going to touch the number of issues that Janice has worked on, right?
Mine's a different kind of work, right?
You're in the thousands, right? You're in the thousands.
It's gotta be.
Well, I don't know if you consider what when you say work, are you just talking about writing, editing, drawing, coloring? I was also a letterer.
When were you a letterer? I didn't know that. Really?
I did some lettering at Marvel, and the main thing I did for Wally Wood was, I worked on the overseas weekly strips he was doing, and my main job was lettering them. And we took turns writing. I would write Canon, and he would write Sally Forth, and then it would switch. And it was like I lettered most of that stuff, and he taught me the Gaspar Saladino alphabet, which he considered the primo lettering alphabet, and that's and he had taught Ralph Reese the same alphabet, previously. So that's what we taught Janice.
I inherited.
And she evolved it into her own thing. So, but it all started with the Gaspar Saladino alphabet. And,
wow, that's like okay. So, is there anything you did not do, Larry?
Well, in comics, I was one of the only editors at Marvel that had a rate for every single job there was. I mean, I had a writing rate, a lettering rate, a coloring rate, a pencil rate, and an ink rate. So I had it all covered. No, because when I started out, you were expected to know how to do every aspect of it, and I think it still helps. I mean, the thing that Wally would tell me was that the first thing he was going to teach me was lettering, because he said, "Look, if I can't teach you how to letter, I can't teach you how to do anything else." Because it's all embodied, because in lettering you have to master the tool. You have to be able to make, vertical strokes and horizontal strokes and curves, and that's the initial step to learning how to ink. So it's all progressive. I don't think I ever really learned how to write per se, because I don't think of the stories as words. I see them as a progression of pictures. So I formulate the whole story in my head visually, and when I sit down at the word processor, I'm just describing the pictures. That's why I write in plot format. They sort of made me switch over to using the word processor, because I originally wrote in what they call the Archie Goodwin style, by actually drawing out the whole story, in sort of cartoon form or layouts, rough layouts. But then I found some artists were just inking my scripts.
Wait, I'm sorry. They were inking your scripts.
Yeah, so he did all the work already.
Yeah, pretty, I mean, I think I scripted a Star Wars that Carmine Infantino did, and he pretty much just blew up my supposed script pages and pretty much inked them. And when somebody asked him about that, he said, "Well, why should somebody else already did the work? Why should I change any of it? Because I can actually draw faster than I can type." If they would let me, I would regress to that, because I work that way, then it's less daunting to me than sitting at a word processor staring at a blank screen. A blank piece of paper with a pencil in my hand is much more reassuring. Doesn't work for everybody, but it works for me.
Right. So you would rather just draw it out if you could.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I don't identify as a writer. I identify as a penciler with a word processor.
With the word processor in your head, basically.
Yeah.
Well, so you've worked on just about everything, I think. And I think you were telling me there's because we were talking through stuff like bucket lists, like what you wanted to work on that you've never worked on, right? And I think you were telling me, what was it? Nick owns some of your pages from Daredevil.
196.
Oh, interesting.
What?
Yeah, Nick Barucci says he owns some of your pages. Daredevil 196, pencils by Larry laying out the issue with Wolverine.
Oh, yeah, I actually drew that issue.
There we go.
Okay, good. That's confirmed, Nick.
That was a Denny O'Neil script.
Yeah.
First time I drew Wolverine. And
Well, we're going to have to do another panel where Nick pulls those pages out and you walk us through that process. Well,
I also wrote a bunch of Daredevils that I wrote in that style of, doing the layouts. And I think Klaus, pretty much just followed my layouts.
Yeah.
because I think there were fill-in issues during like the Miller run or something, or they were just following the Miller run, and I was trying to get as close to that style of storytelling as possible, and page layout. So, yeah, those are fun jobs.
Yeah, now Nick has to share them with us if he finds them.
Yeah, now we got to see these.
Yeah. So Larry, you were saying that something that you had never worked on that you want to work on, because I think you were inspired by was it the Donald Duck, or was it the kids?
Uncle Scrooge.
Uncle Scrooge. That's
Carl Barks.
Carl Barks, right?
Yeah,
right.
something. People ask me about G.I. Joe, and I tell them, basically G.I. Joe was always the junior woodchucks with guns.
So yeah, because I want to see Larry do Uncle Scrooge. This would be phenomenal, don't you think?
I almost had a chance to do it 3 times, but if you know anything about comic book history, you know that the license for the Disney comics kept going, changed hands so many times. So it would change hands, and then people would contact me and say, "Oh, we hear that you really want to do Uncle Scrooge, and could you blah blah blah?" And I talk to them, and we get the wheels in motion, and then they'd lose the
license.
Oh, yeah. And then more years would go by, and somebody else would get the license, and they call me back, and I go.
Oh, yeah.
I think I did that 3 times.
They raised your hopes 3 times.
Yeah.
Sorry,
this has to happen. This has to happen.
Yeah, maybe we'll hear now.
Yeah. Yeah, and like putting that call out. I'm actually doing a little work for Disney right now. Let me do some investigation and see how this can happen.
Yeah, I have no idea who has the Disney license right now.
It's a great mystery. There were so many people involved with so many aspects of this, but I am sure there is a way this can happen, because it needs to happen.
I think it would be Marvel, right?
No, but that's the thing. It's there are multiple different divisions depending on the character, what kind of book it is. Is it a single issue? Is it a graphic novel? Which age? Some stuff is licensed out. Some stuff is done internally. It's like amazing. It's like government. I shouldn't say this. It's like, what the heck? I've never seen anything like this. But yeah.
That mouse.
Right.
Complicated. It's complicated.
It's complicated. So Larry, I think Janice told me that you're the one who gave her first gig. Is that right?
Well,
as an editor?
As an editor?
No, he taught me how to letter, literally.
Oh, so he taught you a letter first, and then?
Well, then she started lettering for Neil Adams.
Oh, okay.
For continuity, because Ralph Reese and I shared an office space at Physical Continuity Studios when they were on 48th Street, and I knew Janice's sister from the Asian movement, and so one day Faye calls me and said, my sister is looking to get some part-time work, to help put herself through school, and is there, can you do anything for her? And I said, well, why don't you send her over here? Maybe we can teach her how to letter. And when we say teaching somebody how to letter, is basically, you sit them down and you take out an Ames guide and you show them how to make the lines of the Ames guide, and then you show them how to sandpaper down the chisel point on an FB 6 pen point, and then you just show them the alphabet. It's not like all you have to learn is 26 things.
Yeah.
Like I knew the alphabet before I met you, so I was ahead.
Once you show the person, these basic things, it's just you got to go home and practice. And I think, Janice came back in 2 weeks with all these samples, and she got a job right away. Things used to be different. Breaking into
Lettering was harder than coloring. So, you really had to be consistent, because every letter is formed by dipping your pen in the ink. You can't drop the ink on artwork, right? So, it's like you had to go through that learning curve of being able to be disciplined to learn how to hand letter before you actually got work. Every job, even now, even though I'm not hand lettering, I'm nervous. It's like that's how I clear the table. It's like, oh my god, it's like, are they going to discover I'm a fake, right? That's a good one to like clear the table and let yourself look at something new, with fresh eyes instead of like doing by route. Yeah.
Well, in those days, a huge amount of letterers in comics and comic strips were Asian. For some, I don't know why that was. I think it was one of those things where like one person,
learned and pulled their friends in, right?
Yeah, I think it was like Ben Oda, like inked like half the stuff for King Features, and then there was like, Mori Kuramoto started out as a letterer, I think, and so did Irving Watanabe, and there were a bunch of these guys. And I think it was just like Janice said, the connection. Oh, hey, the water's fine. Come here.
So Larry had mentioned
coffee shop owner in New York City.
I had mentioned Carl's Matsuda's mother. What was her first name?
May.
Was it May? Yeah. So she lettered also.
She was a cartoonist.
Mm-hmm.
She had, I had seen her stuff when I was a kid and never knew it was her. She had a strip in Boys Life magazine called Rocky Stone Axe about some, teenage Stone Age kid. And I was so amazed when I met her. I was like, oh, wow, it's Rocky Stone Axe.
I know. It's like before social media, you really didn't meet creators unless you went to conventions. So, yeah, you would see people's names on the credit line, and then when you actually meet them, it's like, oh my goodness, is that you? I used to unnerve my son every time I got in the Marvel elevator. I would see somebody carrying a portfolio, and I'd say, well, what's your name? Because I didn't know who else was on my team, right?
Well, I remember the first time I started going to cons, I had people come up to me and said, "You're Asian?"
What did people think you were?
Hama is also a common name. Was a common name in Scandinavia and Germany, and but with an umlaut, like Hama or something like that. In fact, the gatekeeper at Helm's Deep in Lord of the Rings is named Hama. And it's also a Syrian name. Of course, Hamas, the terrorist organization, and it's and there's a huge camera photographic supply company in Germany called Hama, spelled Hama, without an umlaut.
So that's always a good icebreaker, right?
It's like, yep, I'm Asian.
Like it or not, here I am.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's the same thing that happened with a lot of Japanese named O'Hara. People would have just assumed they were Irish.
Yeah.
We were trying to figure out first. So was Mai Matsuda the first Asian American female comics artist? Then we were trying to figure that out.
Who they were?
Who's the first Asian American female comics artist?
Comic artist.
Yeah.
Wow. Got me.
We were talking about Joyce Chin, but I feel like there had to be some cartoonists before her, right?
I would think so. Maybe in the undergrounds. I'm not sure.
Okay, we are going to have the internet help us out here, right? Somebody
Yeah,
out
for sure. And then whoever figures it out.
Someone tweet it out, and maybe somebody will respond.
Yeah, there are fabulous prizes at stake here.
Yes,
if you can find that out.
Well, until comparatively recently, female comic book artists, just female comic artists were like, very bare on the ground.
that's true.
How many of them could you think of that were mainstream? I mean,
Yeah.
in the underground, we had Trina. There were more in the underground. You had Trina and Aileen Kaminsky and a bunch of those. But in mainstream comics, it's hard to think of people beyond the first ones that come to mind.
Right. Oh, hey, so I think Nick has 2 pages that we can show of your
Throw
work.
them up. Throw them up, Kyle.
Let's see it.
Oh,
Really can't see it.
are those layouts?
Can you see it?
Yeah, he can see it. He should be able to.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are layouts. They appear to be layouts.
Yeah. Well, no, those are breakdowns.
Breakdowns.
Yeah, I guess he inked them.
Oh, so he inked them on a different page.
He inked them on overlays.
Oh, okay. Wait, so this is purely your work then? The layout.
This is Klaus. No, wait, what is this? This is
Daredevil. This should be, yeah. What year was it?
Oh, you know what? I think what I did was layouts on this book, or breakdowns, and then
Nick has some thumbnails for class.
Those aren't. That isn't a page size thing. Those are. I think these were done on 8x10, but to scale.
Mm-hmm.
And Klaus blew them up and inked them on the blow-ups.
Oh, okay. You still do a lot of layouts for people, right? Because I think you were kind of like the layout master.
Well, I can do them fairly fast, but don't tell anybody that.
Wait, this is recorded.
I was laying out at one point a couple of years ago. I was laying out 3 monthly books at DC. I was laying out what's it called, the Deathstroke, when Priest was writing it, and Michael Cray, I think it was called, and Damage. So the 3 overlapped for like a month or 2. So, but when I'm rolling with the layouts, I'm fairly fast, but it takes me a bit to get up to speed. But I can, like I said, I can draw a scene, especially a complicated, fight choreography or something. It's easier for me to just draw it than to try to explain what's going on in words.
Yeah, so I actually think we have another one of your friends backstage. Should we bring him up?
There he is, ladies and gentlemen.
What's up,
Larry
man?
Hama.
Hey, Janice.
Congratulations on your Kickstarter.
Yeah,
Oh,
for sure.
thank you.
I could sign up.
Thanks.
That makes 2 of us.
I had to get going because my computer's like grinding the and it's like
yeah.
really
You feel like giving a workout. Anyways, good to see you.
Thank you for having me. It's so much fun. I'm looking forward to seeing everyone in person.
Yes, enjoy the Indian food. I'm very jealous.
Yeah, I have to go cook it now. I'll post a photo on Instagram.
Okay.
I'll tag you. Anyway, take care, everyone. Have a great conversation. Thank you.
Bye, Janice.
Bye.
Hey, Jerry. How are you doing?
What's up, Amy? What's
You
going
had
on,
a busy
guys?
weekend, right?
Sorry, what was that?
You had a busy weekend, right?
Yeah. So it's been well. My brother, I mean, my brother just turned 51, and my dad is actually in the hospital. So it's been pretty wild here.
Is he okay?
Yeah, no, he's just old. So, he's just getting, nothing works.
Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah, hey.
How much older than me could he possibly be?
No, my dad, he's been, he's worked 7 days a week from like 7 in the morning till 11 at night, but for the last, I don't know, like 45, 50 years, something like that.
Yeah.
So, nothing works properly anymore. It kind of sucks, but, I just wanted to, it was kind of good that he went to the hospital. They forced him to essentially, take a break. So I think it was good overall.
Oh, that's good.
Well, let's talk about something else.
Yeah. No, welcome. So now it's turned into sort of Larry and Friends, which I think is cool.
It's great.
We're also talking about just like all the impact people have had in the business, and celebrating Asian American creators, and because also I knew you had a Kickstarter, so I'm like, let's bring Jerry on. I think that'll be fun, right? So we, and then Larry is here with his sort of avatar, but he's enjoying barbecue, which we are not.
Larry, are you in New York or are you someplace else nowadays?
I'm in New York State. I'm in upstate. We're at the farm.
Oh, wow.
But I'm not at that farm right now. I'm at somebody else's farmhouse.
All right, not that farm, the other farm. He's at the other farm.
Barbecuing in the rain.
Oh, yeah. Is it raining there?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's raining everywhere is what I'm gathering here. So
Raining for 2 days.
Yeah.
Which is playing hell with my arthritis.
Yeah, it's a mood, right? Jerry, how do you know Larry? Let's talk about it.
Larry, I guess we met during the Secret Identities book. But I don't know, Larry, how long has it been now? Over 10 years. I don't know.
What year did Secret Identities come out?
I don't even know anymore. I should know, right? But I don't know. I think it's been like 15 years, something like that.
Has it? Oh.
Yeah, I know, crazy, right?
So Jerry, let's properly introduce you, right? Talk about yourself, what your work is, and a little bit about the anthologies and things that you're working on.
Yeah, sure. Plug the Kickstarter, everything. Talk about your liquor cabinet back there.
Ming, I know. I was wondering when we were going to get to talk about that.
Oh, yeah, it was only an eventuality.
But all right, so I'm a New York-based graphic designer and illustrator. I'm currently doing some work in Hong Kong for Vibe magazine, and doing a line of T-shirts for the NBPA in China. And I have a Kickstarter right now for my comic, The Monkey King, which is a modernized urban retelling of the classic story. And yeah, so I guess the way I know Larry though is, I'm not really sure exactly how long ago it was, but I was part of 4 creators that made this book called Secret Identities, which is the Asian American superhero anthology book. It's Jeff Yang, Perry Chen, Keith Chow, and myself, where we got, I believe, over 70 Asian American creators to make all original Asian American superheroes. And it was pretty cool. So I met guys like Larry, Amy, made some of my better friends in life from doing that book. Yeah, one of the best things I've ever done.
And there's 2 volumes, right? I get a little confused. Which came first? There was like
Secret Identities came out first, and then we won a grant award to do the second graphic novel. And this is all pre-social media. So this is before we had like Facebook or anything like that. I remember when Facebook began, I was like, I don't want to do that stuff. That sounds so stupid.
Yeah, this for college kids. I don't want to.
Yeah, I felt so stupid. And Keith Chow actually signed me up to Twitter and Facebook. Like he forced me to join it,
Right. So I was in Shattered, but I wasn't in the first one. The first one came out. We were trying to figure out what year, right? Somebody figure out what year these books came out. Even though we were involved in it, we should know, right?
But yeah, it's crazy because since this was pre-social media, you know, like we had an open call for submissions, and it was like submissions the old-fashioned way, you know. So people actually had to, well, the old-fashioned-ish way, where they were emailing us concepts and things like that. And originally it was Jeff Yang, Keith Chow, and myself, and then Parry Shen was actually one of the first guys to submit a story. And for anyone that is watching that might not know, Parry is the star of the movie Better Luck Tomorrow, and he's a regular on General Hospital. So when Parry wrote in a story, we actually jumped on a call with him, and then we just kind of suckered him into becoming the fourth editor because we were all on the East Coast and we needed someone on the West Coast.
Yeah.
And Parry just by default became that guy. And I remember he called me afterwards. He's like, "Yeah, I was talking to my wife." He's like, I submitted a story. I got on a call with these guys, and then after the call was done, he's like, "Honey, I think I'm part of the editorial team now." So that was pretty funny.
Just he was on General Hospital. Like he's on General Hospital now.
Yeah. If you tune in now, he is like, it's really funny. He's he plays a gay doctor with a gangster background.
He plays a gay doctor. Okay. So
yeah, why wouldn't he be? Yeah.
But he's married with a wife, has like 2 boyfriends. Like, I don't know. He's got this whole like Hong Kong gangster background. It's a soap opera, you know.
I'm kind of curious to watch it now. I don't know. You know, Larry,
it's funny. When I was at Penn Station with Parry, people were running up to him like, "Aren't you Brad from General Hospital?"
Brad? Okay. What are you all watching? Larry, what are you watching in TV these days? Are you watching soaps? Are you watching Parry or something else?
I'm anxiously awaiting the finale of Mayor of Easttown tonight. I've been following that. You know, I've been binging on like older shows because especially if there's something, you know, up there with 5 or 6 seasons. And then, oh, okay, that's plenty of ammo.
Yeah, and speaking of gangsters, Larry's in an upcoming movie as a gangster.
Oh, what's that? He's a gangster.
The Snake Eyes. I have a cameo as a Yakuza boss.
Oh, fantastic.
Which I think is pretty fitting. So, I mean, you know, all things considered.
Yeah, well, it was wet work.
Yeah,
the entire scene was shot in pouring rain, you know, in indoor set, and so I was wearing like a suit and a tie and an overcoat, and they had and a full set of like waterproof underwear and socks. And God, they kept reshooting the scene, and I had, had to start at one end of the alley and walk to the other end through this, pouring rain. And pretty, after like one take, my shoes are full of water. So it was, they got their money's worth. But it was fun being on the set. Because it's the origin movie of Snake Eyes from G.I. Joe, and they reimagined it as it's really not. It's more of a martial arts movie than a military fantasy movie, and they shot a lot of it in Japan. They did a lot of the indoor stuff on a soundstage in Vancouver. So they flew me out to Vancouver for that. And from what I've seen, it's going to be pretty spectacular. They got the fight coordinator who did all the fight choreography for the Rurouni Kenshin movies, which were amazing fights. So they got one of the best fight coordinators in Japan to do the choreography for this one. So.
Did you get to fight?
No, I didn't get to fight.
No, he just got wet, but he looks pretty cool doing it though. I saw a
You
picture.
got to look badass in the rain.
And I got to meet Henry Fielding and the other actors, and it was and the stunt crew, terrific people. Henry Fielding is just a wonderful guy.
Oh, is he? That's so good to know.
Yeah, as well as being a terrific actor.
That's great. You've been in other productions too, right? Weren't you in MASH at one point?
Yeah, I was a bad guy on MASH. I kidnapped Frank Burns.
Cool. I think you're a bad guy.
I was in Screen Actors. I've been in Screen Actors Guild since 1976, and not once did I ever play a good guy, except for maybe in some commercials. I was in a Subaru commercial, 25 years ago or something. Played a Japanese businessman in a suit, an auto company executive, and I was on Saturday Night Live. And I was in the Apocalypse Now skit.
And weren't you in Warriors, Larry?
I was in the Savage Huns in the Warriors. That was like a couple of weeks worth of work too. But I think I only ended up with about 3 seconds on the screen during the credits. And I was in Pacific Overtures on Broadway, the Stephen Sondheim musical. I did a lot of off-Broadway. There was one soap I was on for a couple of weeks too, and I can't remember the name of it. Another World. I was a bad guy on that too. I got thrown out of the window at one point.
The man's been typecast as a villain.
I know. Do you want to play a good guy at some point?
But the thing is, being a bad guy is more fun. A lot of ways.
True.
Well, the thing is, at that time, there weren't a lot of Asian actors around that looked like they could kick your door down or whatever. So if they were looking for a thug or a bad guy, or a samurai, I usually got the gig. Except once I went to an audition. They were looking for a samurai for a commercial. It was like they wanted a funny samurai. And my agent was J.D. Wan. She was like a real character.
J.D. was your agent. Oh, wow.
Okay. Was my agent. She had been like a stripper at the Forbidden City in San Francisco, back in the day, and she still wore like spike heels and had chopsticks in her hair.
She was a real character.
Chain smoked Salems, and so she was my agent, and she also represented Reverend Khan, who was a minister at the Buddhist church, who was a 6th-degree black belt in Zen sword, and he had been my teacher at one point. So I show up for this audition where they're looking for a samurai, and the other guy that's sitting in the waiting room is Reverend Khan. And I've got my sword, he's got his sword, and I sit down next to him and we're quiet for about 30 seconds. And oh, Jesus, I got to compete against this guy for this part. And he turns to me and he says, "Oh, Hama-kun, I don't think you or I get this part." And I said, "Well, Sensei, why not?" And he says, "Oh, I think they really want John Belushi."
For funny samurai.
I mean, the guy that got the part was this, this Korean guy that looked like John Belushi.
So he was right.
Yeah, he was right. He was quite a character, but he looked so professorial, you know, and elegant, you know, that he would, you know, he always got the executive jobs, you know, if they were casting, you know, a business executive or a diplomat or whatever. And one time I did a Subaru commercial. There was all these Japanese executives sitting around trying to come up with a name for the next model Subaru. And I was on screen for maybe 2.5 seconds. You know, the camera came to me, and I held up my finger and I said, "Skunk," you know, and that was it. You know, on camera, 2 seconds saying "skunk."
Saying skunk. That's it.
But it's a Subaru commercial. So, you know, for the next 2 years, you know, I couldn't get on a subway or a bus without people like pointing at me and saying, "Skunk, skunk." And like, you know, I would look around and like other people who had, you know, hadn't seen the commercial and something was like, "Does he smell bad or what?" But that shows you the power of TV, you know, that, you know, you could just be on there for seconds and you're somehow imprinted on a lot of people. So I think that's why, you know, our representation, you know, on media is really important. You know, because
very important.
We're unseen, you know, it's very easy to formulate, you know, really sort of negative opinions or not have any opinions at all.
That's why we got to create our own stories, Larry.
Yeah.
Right.
Yes.
So do you think this is about, well, it's, of course, creating our own stories, getting more writers, getting more actors? What is it, casting? I mean, where do we make inroads, you know, in terms of increasing diversity?
Especially with the writing, right? Seriously, I think we need more writers like you, Amy, to tell more stories that represent us, you know?
I'm trying. I'm working a spec script. I'm like, oh, this is actually really difficult, you know, because now I feel like the weight of the entire Asian population is on this one script. I know that's not true, but you know, it does feel very weighty. I'm like, oh, I got to do a good job on this.
I think you're doing a pretty good job, Amy.
I have a part for Larry. I've written into the script, by the way, so I hope it gets. I hope it happens. So I think it'll be hilarious. It's a comedy. You'll be a good guy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it'll be great. You would have fun with this role.
I can do comedy.
Yeah, it's the character is basically you know.
Okay.
So
You know what? I have to jump off because I'm, you know, supposed to be at this family function.
Oh, yeah.
It sounds like a party back there. So yeah, go back and join the party.
Bring some food back for us.
I know, right? Yeah, seriously.
Okay. But
Okay.
great talking to you guys. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, for sure. We'll see. We will see.
I couldn't get this video to work. You know, if I'd been at home on my desktop, I would have been able to do this.
No sweat. We remember how good you look, Larry. Okay, we totally remember.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a happy rest of the holiday.
You too.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Larry.